Ancient Egyptian cuisine. Bread, fesik, bisara, lentils, and other foods that were popular among ancient Egyptians were among the most well-known pharaonic foods, which are still eaten today. Egypt is a hot, dry nation where scarcity of water makes it challenging to grow crops and care for animals, yet the yearly deluge the Nile Valley was one of the most productive areas in the ancient world because the Nile River, flooding, occurred between June and September. This soil was rich and fruitful when the river flooded, depositing mud and silt nearby, forming suitable agricultural land. Wheat and barley were the primary crops farmed, and some of the most well-known the following well-known dishes in. The loaf. So wheat was turned into flour, then into a dough with water and yeast, which is placed in a pottery mold before being cooked in a stone oven. They mixed additives such as salt, spices, milk, and eggs. Bread was one of the main ancient Egyptian foods that were eaten by the rich and poor ancient Egyptians. It is notable that there were 42 different forms of bread in pharaonic Egypt, including plasticized bread and solar bread, both of which have only been kneaded and baked in Upper Egypt. Fesik. The Egyptians were eager to eat pickled fish prepared from mullet, which is consumed in great amounts in the spring since the fish was stable and its primary source was the Nile along with rivers and others. Legumes were particularly significant since they had been consumed since the pharaonic era. A meal called bisara with pharaonic roots is a combination of legumes. Okra is still one of the Egyptians' favorite cuisines today and is regarded as an old Egyptian delicacy. Malana, or salted green chickpeas, are a native delicacy. Fish, meat, and poultry. Salt, pepper, cumin, coriander, sesame, dill, and fennel were used to flavor fried or boiled meat, fish, and poultry. One way to preserve food during the time of the pharaohs was by salting or drying any meat, fish, or fowl that wasn't consumed right away. Products made from poultry. In pharaonic Egypt, both the wealthy and the common people enjoyed eating poultry. Birds like geese, swans, ducks, quails, and even pigeons and ostriches were among the most popular poultry products consumed. Milk and other dairy products. The emergence of agriculture saw many expanding and sustainable practices of raising livestock in the ancient Egyptian pharaonic civilization. Among livestock, they used bulls exclusively for agriculture, but other livestock, including goats, sheep, and cows, were used in food preparation in addition to milk consumption, and they used dairy products. Aside from the delightful delicacies that cattle produce, there are other foods like sour milk, whey, and milk cream. Vegetables. In ancient Egypt, vegetables were consumed as a side dish to ordinary meals. Due to the annual flooding of the Nile, the majority of the regions adjacent to the river were fertile and ideal for growing plants including onions, garlic, leeks, lentils, cabbage, radishes, turnips, and cucumbers. Spices and food additives were extensively employed in ancient Egypt. First, the oil. The main meals were cooked in a lot of oil, so the Egyptians had 21 different kinds of different vegetable oils. These oils were made from sources like sesame, castor plants, flax seeds, and radish seeds, with radish oil being the most well-known. They also liked a lot of spices, such as cinnamon, anise, and salt. The pharaonic kitchen was frequently on a flat surface or in a corner of the courtyard. It was open to the air, so food was prepared in clay ovens as well as over an open flame using wood as fuel, occasionally coal, though this was uncommon given that the Harris Papyrus mentions the quantities of coal and states that it is transported in baskets or sacks. Kitchen utensils. They prepared food using all kinds of jars, bowls, pots, pans, and sieves. The kitchen tables on which meat and fish were cut were made of 3 or 4 legs, and the majority of people used pottery for their dishes. However, wealthy people frequently had their tables made of bronze, silver, and gold. The following are the most well-known pharaonic foods that people in ancient Egypt loved and used to include in their daily diets.